this is 30 Cents Podcast, episode 1, take 1. Lord have mercy.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so this time what we gonna talk about? What do we all like to talk about? Sex and numbers.
Sex and numbers.
Does it matter?
Does it matter?
Does it matter? Yes or no? Hi, come on now.
No.
Sex does it matter?
Yes, fuck yes.
Does it matter?
Hell no.
Does it matter? It depends. See, I
No,
can't.
see, you, yes or no? Yes or no?
Maybe.
Yes or no?
That ain't
Intriguing.
I'm sorry.
Indecisive.
Yes. No.
Yeah, yes. It was
Yes
a
or
yes. It was a yes.
I'm in the middle.
Why are you in the middle?
Because I feel like if I say no, then that cuts off circumstances that I would be considerate of. And if I say yes, I just feel like it's
So wait,
so many
okay.
decisions. Look, it depends on the person.
So
That's how I look at
a
it.
person's number of sex partners that they have matters on dating them? Like,
It depends on their lifestyle. I'm not trying to date somebody who's just promiscuous out here and has really no reason as to why. It depends on what you tell me. That's how I look at it. I'm not going to judge you. I'm looking at, I would assume before I would do anything, I would have a conversation with you. You know what I'm saying? To kind of see what.
I mean, it matters, but it doesn't. Like, if you have a new sex partner every day, of
Okay.
course that would matter.
that matters.
That's why I'm saying it depends on the situation.
Why does it matter if it's every day, but it don't matter if it was like 1,000 people? Why does every day matter?
It's nothing's black and white.
I
That's
see a
how
lot
I
of
look at
character,
it. Life
though.
ain't black and white. You know what I'm saying? So what if somebody had a past that, and they changing, or let's say they were exploring. That's why I just can't shut somebody out because I think it's too much, or, that's why I'd say it depends on the person.
I mean, because if
For me.
somebody is having sex with somebody different every day, then they're a sex addict. But if you have 30 partners, that doesn't mean you're a sex
I
addict.
agree.
That's two different things.
You know what you're talking about.
Say that one more time.
Makes
You
sense
said
to
what?
me.
If you're having sex with different people every day, you're a sex addict.
Yeah,
But
why
if
do
you
do
just
that?
have 30 partners, that doesn't make you a sex addict.
Does it depend on the age? Because we are 30 something, so we talking, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
like,
always,
somebody
I mean, we're
that's
always talking about
20
people older.
versus somebody who's 50, or you know, that's why I
Yeah,
say
I
it's
mean,
kind of hard
No,
to.
sex every day is a problem. I mean, except for maybe if it's with your spouse or significant
I was
other,
like,
but
what? Why can't you
sex
have
every
sex
day
every day?
with somebody that's, not your significant
Oh,
other.
okay.
But
I just was wondering.
Yeah, so like, but here's my thing. Since I'm the only person, she said maybe yes, maybe no. The only person who said yes. For me, it's like, it matters for me because I attach a certain type of value to sex. So it's like, for me, I feel like how many people I have sex with matters to me. So I want somebody else, I want it to matter to you too. And if you had sex with a certain number that's like not a number that I would do, then I'm gonna feel like we don't have the same values on sex. And that's really what it's about. It's not like, oh, you had sex with too many people. It's more about like I don't feel like your values in sex align with my values. Just like if we was raising kids, or just like if we was paying bills. You know what I'm saying? I want somebody who's like-minded.
But why is it? Okay, you said like-minded, but so we're not gonna get specific about numbers. That's people's personal business. But let's say you said 20 is mine, and somebody said 23. You're saying that you don't have the same values because you
Or
both
even
have.
if they say
You know what I mean?
50
If
or
that's the
something.
max, because what if they just happen to have had more quality with that person, but because it's 3 more than what you think is necessary. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's kind of.
or even if it's 10 more.
How do you
whatever.
define that? Who's to say that somebody who has 10 versus somebody who has 15 don't have the same values? Maybe different experiences. You know what I mean? I feel like especially in our 30s, we've been through so much stuff, and we have reasons why. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in 18 deciding how many I want. I wasn't having that. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing that for other reasons, but to make a statement as if in our 30s we may understand what we want to do for our lives based upon how many partners is a big assumption. I'm not saying it's not possible, because it definitely is, but it's a big assumption. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And like sometimes who you are in your 20s does not make you who you are in your 30s. Like I may have
Thank
a
goodness.
person may have done a lot in their 20s because of emotional reasons, but you know life brings growth, and now they're not that person. So like in their 20s they might have had a different sex partner every month, but in their 30s they might not be like that. So it's like why what they did in their 20s does not make them who they are now, or even when they were younger. You never know what a person went through emotionally, what they had to grow through. So, you know, I just don't think that numbers matter. I think what matters is, do you have any type of diseases that are not curable? Like, that's what matters. Like, me personally, I would never even ask a man how many people you had sex with. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Like, you got STDs I need to know about? Oh, all right.
Well, I may still had a conversation. I feel like it comes up regardless. I don't know if it's for a yay or nay. I feel like it's just...
I'll break up with somebody if they ask me that. Don't ask me no stupid question. How many people I had sex with? Mind your business. It's you now. That's what matters.
That's not a stupid question though. That's
Don't
a real.
ask me.
That's a real ass adult
I don't
question.
understand why it matters, though. I really don't.
It is a real question though, just because you're supposed to be open with your mate. But before I forget what I was going to talk about, you know, you're talking about people's morals and you want people to have a certain amount of partners. The thing about like women and stuff, if they get married and maybe only have 3 partners, after marriage, they're probably going to explore. Not saying that, I'm not saying every woman is the same, so I'm not putting that stigma on us, but a lot of times if you didn't experience life, you'll find out you're in a marriage one day and you still want to experience life.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not so, and like I argue to each their own, because my whole thing is it's no different than, I mean, I was gonna say I was gonna bring the race card in there, but like cultural card, it's no different than saying I live my way a certain type of way, and this is important to me and this matters to me. So it's like, let's say there are some people who are vegetarians or vegans who can be in a relationship with somebody who eats meat and it's not an issue. But then there are some people who are vegans who don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who's not a vegan because of how they feel about being vegan.
Right.
And so like, and both of those scenarios are okay. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with either one of those scenarios. I'm saying that like for me, how much you, how often, for me, for me, how many people you have had sex with says something about what your values are on sex or what they have been. And whatever that is okay, but I wanted to align with something that I have. And I'm not, it's not a hard number.
About what somebody's values have been. It's one thing to care about what
yes,
their values
and that's
are,
what I'm not understanding.
But how can you possibly care about what somebody's values was?
Why does that matter? That's what I'm,
because it's preference, so that's okay.
Like
but
I said, who I was back then is not who I am now.
You gotta care about what somebody is today.
So are you talking if after having the conversation you recognize that this is what their mindset is, and it's like that's not the mindset that I'm about, as opposed to this person had, a past and is in a different place. Does that matter to you? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like, because some people go through things and have realizations that that's not how they want to move in the future, but they can't change the past. Or is it somebody that's like, moving forward, this is how I look at it. I'm going to have sex with maybe because I want to have sex with. And it, you know what I mean? Like, and you may not want to be with somebody that's like that. Or is it specifically the number? I'm just wondering.
It's yes, because that last part kind of threw me off. It's yes a little bit about specifically being, it's not a hard number. It's like in the range of my range and how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I know people, like, I try really hard not to judge people based off of their past. But I didn't say I was successful. I said I tried. I tried. But for me, it's like, and it honestly, it really depends on, it really depends on who the person is. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people have had a certain type of past and they different people.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
And I bang with that. And then sometimes people have certain paths and they say they're different people.
And they're not. See, that's something different. And I can understand it. And that comes with a preference. Now I'm gonna ask this. Does it matter? Whether we think about it or not, in society, does it matter when it's a woman or a male? A man or a woman? Because
what do you mean?
the reality is it's treated differently. You know, especially thinking about me being in my 30s, it's like if we had the same number, we'd be looked at completely different. If my number was 20 and yours was 20, most men, I'm glad if you sound like you're different, but most men are looking at it, you know, there's not an opportunity for us women to explore that and be okay with that.
I'm a judge a woman though. If a man told me he had sex with 100 people, I'd be like, you have. But if a woman told me that, I'm really gonna be like, oh no, something wrong with you. So I'm a judge.
And that's,
so you're one of those
yeah, I'm one of the people. I would judge the woman. As a woman, I'm gonna judge her too.
Judge a man.
No, I guess it's how society. I'm gonna be like, because I guess society has made me to feel like men can do whatever they want.
So then how?
Yeah.
But
now,
then
unless you mess with her and her mom, then I'm like, no, you're nasty. But you just mess with like.
Wait, how we get there?
Cause that's the only men not really nasty to men. There's nothing they can do.
We're
sexually wrong.
This is what happens.
We're at a time where society is like kind of changing. So I remember when I was young, like you would get called names like smut, hoe, whore. But now we have people like Amber Rose and different things going on right now, and Carly B, and you know, people that's in the industry right now that's making it okay. It's changing from when I was young. Do you guys agree, or do you think
there's more people that are bold about it? I don't know if it's necessarily changed, because it's interesting because she said that don't ask me my number, but if it was
another woman, you
would judge it.
I would never ask nobody their number. Cause I don't want to have to judge people or like
Oh,
I don't want to.
Okay.
It doesn't matter because I don't think that makes a person's character. But I do think that sometimes women, our bodies are different than a man's body, in my opinion.
It is what it
you know what I mean?
It
like
is.
we mess around, get pregnant, we have to carry that child,
right?
So we have to be protective of our bodies. That's just how I feel.
Crazy though.
You know what I mean?
I can agree with
but
that.
the man make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's a shame how
it's our body.
It's like, we have to be, but what
because we are the ones that are made to bring these children to the world. So it's like if we just out here doing whatever, we might can get pregnant, and then that's really on us. I really believe, that's on a woman. I get that whole it takes two. That's a woman.
But you have birth control too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, if you.
But I will also say that
99.9%. There's that 1%.
Yeah, I will say that like, and I hear what Jay is saying, and I agree with her to a certain extent. It's like, in reality, socially, a woman should not have to deal with the child on her own. But biologically and physically, if a man decides to leave, you physically have that baby with you. Like, unless you get an abortion, you have to deal with the physicality of having a baby. A man has the option to not deal with that. He never should.
No, both have the option. I mean,
because I know
one is just harder to make.
Right.
And I think if we're going to change the narrative, we have to start, even though I agree with you, it's not that I don't agree that we are, and I, as a woman, I'm going to be more conscious of my body because I recognize that. However, how do we make men more accountable if we say, hey, it's actually more on the woman if we keep, how do we change that?
We change that by, we got to change how we allow men to treat us.
So we can change
towards us
as individuals, but how do we start changing the narrative here? Especially because being in my 30s, that comes up so much more because the culture's changing. So we're no longer thinking about sex in the way that we were raised, but we're still fighting the stereotypes that came from back then. So how do we, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we, because I feel like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it's like, be free, but don't, explore sexually, but don't have too many. It's like, well, which one is it? Either you're going to allow me to make the choice to be with who I want to be with and be responsible like anybody should be, or you're going to put that responsibility on me, even though I'm always going to hold that responsibility to myself. But for society to put that on me, you get what I'm saying? It's a whole nother level of.
It's all about the definition, though, because the reality is that If you look at, if we want to subscribe to masculine and feminine energies and how those energies relate to sex, women have a tendency to connect emotionally to the act of sex in a way that men don't.
And that's why
And so that's when a man has a whole bunch of different sexual, not that it's okay, I'm not saying it's okay,
right,
but when a man has a whole bunch of sexual partners, it doesn't necessarily mean, there's less of a chance that it means that there's an emotional breakage going on.
Right.
Whereas with women, if she has, it's more of a chance of it meaning that there's emotional breakage going on. So that's why it's like, okay, I don't like to put on what women need to do, what men need to do, but the reality is that women need to do certain things to protect themselves.
Careful,
men need to do certain things to change how they treat women. That's just how it is.
And I think that's all we're talking about. Is it's not that I don't agree with everything you just said. It's just, how do we start to hold equal accountability in some way, shape, or form? My accountability may be I need to be responsible for my body because I know I bring life into this world. I feel like a man's responsibility needs to be, you need to realize that you are putting people in a position, if you choose to act upon this without protecting yourself, what it does to that woman. And I feel like there's different responsibility. It should not be my job to make sure you got, well, no.
I think
no, I'm saying
it's
no,
all
I was
up to
gonna
the
repeat
woman.
that. I'm gonna make sure if I chose to be like that somebody's I'm protected because I'm protecting myself. But you should be just as
men.
You know,
men
have you heard about
different
men
when
been taking
women-
off their condoms during? Have you heard? Like, that's insane to me. Men sneaking it off.
Men are disgusting. And they don't
It's
even go
just-
to the doctors like they should.
It's just-
Okay.
I have not heard of
Nasty.
that.
I
but
saw.
If that's a thing, then that's
Everything is a thing
fucked
with a
up.
man.
I know
Everything.
it's a thing. But
Think of the worst thing. He did it.
Here's because you know I have a lot of women in my family and you know I like to keep it real. Like, it's one thing I preach to my younger cousins, male and female. I talk to my peers about how we treat women. But the reality is that you are only in control of what you do. So I always tell women, you have to, if you want a certain thing to not be in your life, barring like someone forcing themselves upon you or any kind of situation like that, you have to be in control of what you allow and what you accept from men, period.
But hold up. I gotta say something. I don't like the way this podcast is going right now. You know why? Because I feel like we're painting women to be weak. And I feel like the women of this day and age, we can sometimes have sex with people and don't care. Like, I was just reading a whole article or whatever, and it was saying that the women of today actually has more sexual partners than men do. Not that, I'm not even saying that it's a good thing. I'm just saying, like, we're not back in the 80s now. Mm-hmm. Women are getting it in like men get it in. Mm-hmm. Men are on our phones crying. Men are on our phones wanting some.
As long as that person is emotionally healthy, they can mess whoever they want.
Listen, men are on their phones ready to kill other dudes for you. Really? Like, what I gotta do to take this? You know how women used to slash tires? Men
out here slashing
tires. For real, we are all humans. And
Not
to
really.
think that women are just so weak and we need to protect our hearts.
So the
that's
question,
bullshit.
so the question is across the board. Then does it matter? As you know what I mean? Like, does it matter?
Yes.
I mean, I get it. Even though
We live in a different world now.
we'll say we saying women, you need it. That just kind of.
It's hard to
messes
admit
with
it.
me
If a person's
But we live
emotionally
in a
healthy,
different
then they should be
world.
able to live life however they want to. But if you're
Right.
doing things because you're emotionally broken, then you got chill.
And
Right.
see,
I agree
that's
with
Yeah.
that.
And that's, I think
think
that's what it
that's
is.
That's
big
it.
But you're right, yeah.
That's-
Because I know a young girl right now, no names or whatever, and she is having sex with everybody. You know, and she puts her videos on Instagram and
She's got
all
it.
types of stuff.
What?
Okay,
But-
first of all,
but she
Nola
has-
Garland.
You know what I mean? She has a lot of emotional issues. So that's not something that I would ever condone. I just
Right.
want her to get help. But somebody that's out here you know, that's okay in the mind, like any
a
of us,
Nola Darling.
like one of us, like a Nola Darling. You guys know I love
She's gotta
I
have
love
it.
this show.
She's gotta
You
have it.
gotta have it.
Yeah.
Even though she got
That
some herself, but
is
it's a
sexual liberation. Now, is it religiously right? Probably not. Is it right? Maybe not. Who knows? But we do know that it's a real thing. Like, we're not weak. I just had to get that out. I'm sorry.
You ain't gotta apologize. Like, I'm with it. Like, I think we all with it. I don't think that. I think it's important for that to be said. I don't think anybody here has the opinion that women are weak or that we want the world.
Or that we
to
crying because we having
think
sex with
we
people
are-
and guys ain't calling. Like, don't nobody care. Nigga,
Yeah.
anyway. Oh, excuse. Actually, not that name out. I said the N word.
Nah, I mean, that's.
we
probably-
gonna put it.
Yeah, I don't know if
So-
we're gonna bleep that out or not, but whatever.
So, and I can talk because I know we can edit certain things out. So
Right.
I think we got the serious. I think we need to like hone it in because it got a little, whatever.
Okay.
But I think you hit the nail on the head though. It's like, I think we're talking more about being sexually healthy. Because if anybody doesn't know that you should deal with your issues and not sleep around to get around it, you know what I'm saying? That's something different. But like, when somebody's sexually healthy, how do we start changing the narrative for real in society? Because the reality is, if I decided to date casually and have sex casually with multiple partners, because you said you would start judging. So when is too many? Like,
Who am I just?
no, like if we was girlfriends, hey
She
girl,
said
I
if she
would.
had 100 partners, she a hoe.
But that's a lot of
I would.
that's a
You
lot
know
of
what I mean?
bodies.
I ain't gonna say if I don't think that she's unwifeable or something, but I would be like, as a woman, I'd be like, girl. But I ain't gonna say that she's not wifey material.
So 50s, like
You
that's
still,
scary
you
shit.
still think she should get married and all
Yeah,
that stuff. You
First of
just
all,
like,
that's her business. Because
Yeah.
you know me, I don't even think nobody
Somebody
should
for
know
everybody.
that. Except maybe her best girlfriend. Her man
Right.
shouldn't be asking her that.
So when
For
it's
real.
like if we girlfriends, it's like, oh girl, I had this and you know
I'm gonna clutch my pearls. I'm a court. But you my girlfriend now.
I know.
I'm like, well, what are they named John? Oh, all right then. I don't care. But my man.
But are you judging on the inside?
On that side, I'm like, dang, ooh, that was a lot. But you know.
See, I think there's a difference. It's like, oh, I love you, girl, and I'm support you no matter what. You know, I'm gonna have your back, but child, you need to. I think there's a different kind than like, oh, you There's a whole different. You know, we got that girlfriend. It's like, look, I don't agree with what you're doing, but I'm gonna support you because
right.
you're going through this
I mean, we all
moment.
got that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus really like, I haven't really thought about, do partners matter in that sense? You know, being married for so long and like really thinking about what does that look like for me in this phase, in this stage, being mid-30s. What does that look like? What is really, you know what I mean? I think it's okay to not know either. I mean, you know, it sounds like you had it figured out young and. That's dope.
Especially as a black man.
I didn't, especially as a black man. That's
that
dope.
is-
Because you don't
I'm
see that.
I'm gonna be real honest, like, and it's so like growing up, you know, I was raised by a single woman, so single black female.
Yes,
Shout
single
out.
black woman.
Queen.
Hey mom. So like, you know, so it was, and so I know the plight of the black female as best as I can as a black man.
You said you know what?
I said I know the plight
As
of
best
the-
as he can.
as best as I can
Oh, okay.
as a black man.
I didn't hear that part. I just asked.
Yeah, cause you ain't listening. And then I had a lot of positive and negative influences, male influences in my life. You know, and a lot of who I am as a man is because my mother raised me to respect women. And that was like, you know, that was not anything to be questioned. I didn't grow up like that was a choice. It was just, this is what we do. And I see that in a lot of like my peers that's not something that they were raised to do. Is like just by default have a certain level of respect for women.
You think that's the case, or maybe they just veered away from it because of society? Because I know a lot of black men that were raised that way, but went out on their own, went to college, got, you know, started feeling themselves a little bit, and started living life. So, you know what I mean? It sounds like you valued it as much as your mom instilled it in you.
So are you trying to say that the amount of your sexual partners had to do with your value for women? Because we're on sexual partners. So I'm
that
trying
is
to ask.
an
You know what? And let me tell y'all,
That's
when we cut the
interesting
cameras,
question.
I'm gonna tell you how many I've had, and then are you gonna not like me anymore? Am I not gonna be your little sister anymore?
Fucking right. It's like,
But
no, never
that
that.
is-
Never that.
But that's a dope question though.
Yeah, because
But
that's not the same thing. That's two different
Well,
things.
for a man's perspective, because we talked about it being different. You know what I mean? For a woman, emotionally, I guess I would ask men that.
Like,
Do you-
it's men that you're with or whatever, and you know they had a lot of sexual partners, and they still have a lot of respect for you. So
Yeah.
That's
So I would say that no, like how many partners I had is not related to
Your
you know,
respect,
my
what
respect
you
for
stood,
women.
it's not
Now
related.
how I behaved when I was dealing with a woman is
that's something
is
different.
you know,
No, that's all
I mean,
intertwined.
when I grew up,
Before and after.
I grew up in the church, so I had a number that I didn't want to go over. To be honest, that don't have anything to do with how I feel about other people. So I did have a number for a while, and I was thinking, when I get to this number, I'm going to recycle.
What?
I'm gonna recycle. That's what I thought.
Oh, you mean you use the same one? No.
I was like, wait a minute.
That's not good.
Because you technically,
Welcome to the party.
because you
Why is that
technically
not
don't go. No, I was.
I mean,
yeah.
You're
She
technically-
caught- everybody caught up. Okay.
Why
Cool.
was
You know
well,
what?
maybe it's not bad.
No,
But
I think that's a great idea. Like,
I refused.
you was on to something.
I refuse. I'm
What
like,
happens
why
if they
add no? I'm just about to go back to
Yeah.
the.
But what
you
happens
know.
if they sucked?
Huh?
You gonna see the one that did
Well,
suck.
hopefully you.
Hopefully.
You gotta.
It didn't suck. I mean, they should.
That's why you gotta live life.
Yeah. Cool.
That's why you gotta live life and explore.
You know what I mean?
Is this the conversation we having right now? Because I mean, I
If you
start
fall
talking
in love
about
with
shit.
somebody that's different,
He
but
said,
I'm
"I'll
just
start
saying
talking."
for the most part, that's what I grew up. Like, I'm going to keep recycling. Like, I'm going to keep going back to the same people. I'm not. If I meet somebody that's like, oh my God, this could be my husband, then that was different to me. But for the most part, I recycled. That's probably why I wound up with Jason, since I was talking to him,
Who?
my husband. I'm sorry, Jason. I was talking to him when I was 16, and that's probably how, because I recycled.
Like, let me just go back to that one, cause
And see, I had a
be out
different
here busting
upbringing
it wide
because I
open.
wasn't out here exploring. I was too
Yeah.
afraid of getting pregnant. And
You
also,
were listening to your parents, though. I wasn't
and
always
well,
listening.
I respected why
What
not
you
to.
What you call her, Jesus baby?
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, I love the Lord.
She's a preacher's
No,
kid.
but oh, you edit it out.
I
But
know.
no,
No, we're not
I
gonna
know.
edit
But
it.
nonetheless, like and I valued it because of my faith, but
Right.
also I was scared to death because of my position and who I am. So it was like, I don't want to be that one. I didn't want to create a stereotype. I didn't want to add to a stereotype. So now, as a woman that's in her 30s and in a different transition in her life, it's like, what? I haven't had a chance to really think about it because I did meet, who I was with at 16, and so
wow.
that type of thing. But
She said, I'm 30 now. Fuck a stereotype. What's up?
We're going to bring it in, y'all.
But no, I think this is a really good conversation, and I think we got to keep having these kind of conversations, especially in this time. And the reason why I keep saying 30s because it's so different than my 20s. Like, I don't want to go back to those. I appreciate them, but it's like
Right.
30s is
I
a
don't think
whole
anybody wants to go back.
not at all. But I feel like
I
30s
had
is a
fun.
whole different experience. So with that being said,
Cheers.
okay, so cheers to making your own decisions and making them in a healthy way.
Healthy.
Yes.
That's the important part.
Y'all don't know nothing about drinking. You gotta tap the bet. Come on now.
We ain't drinking. We
You got
drinking.
to.
Now, can we
Anytime
go
you
back
talk.
and
Alrighty.
can we go